Petri dish, the Petri dish, the Petri dish.
This is
The Petri dish, the Petri dish, the Petri dish. This is the Petri dish. There's something growing in here, and this time it's mushrooms. Legal mushrooms, though, and not just like I didn't clean my shower mushrooms. I got a shiitake mushroom log for Christmas. In case you're wondering what kind of hipster I'm becoming. It's the kind that grows its own mushrooms from the internet. So, welcome to 2021, motherfuckers. We made it. Sorry, episodes have been sparse. I really did end up switching to pretty much monthly there at the end. So, 2021 resolution, I'm going to try to keep this guy weekly again. You know, whatever it becomes this year. From the 2019 emotional feelies year to the 2020 just constant catch up that I was doing. I'm just gonna, this is just gonna end up going back to, almost like it was in 2019. It's just kind of a fucking diary at the end of the day, because as I've said a million times on the podcast before, this is more of just like a audio diary for myself, because I don't know what I know until I say it out loud. So, welcome back to the year of checking in on myself. I fucking meditated today, you pieces of shit. Fuck you. I don't know why I'm coming in so hostile with it. I'm gonna turn myself down. I'm coming in so fucking hot. There are very, very skittish animals all around. But yeah, so we made it. We did it. I didn't really... previous years I've done a little like, oh, we're going to recap, or like try to get everyone together like, oh, what was the year like? This year, not fucking worth it, because everyone's going to have the same shit to say. It sucked. A lot of people died. Things were bad. But honestly, like, this is how I know I have white privilege. This is how I know. Like, I may not be white, but I have some kind of... It's probably more class privilege than anything. But like... Despite the world falling apart and shit being bad for everyone and just the general anxiety of the world, I'm not doing that bad. I'm doing, honestly, pretty good. Let's see what I wanted to do. 2020 sucked. We'll get that out of the way. We had several 9/11s a week. We gotta acknowledge that. But also, I'm in a lovely relationship and things are going well. Me and my girlfriend Alicia, we're celebrating 1 year of knowing each other now. I guess we let's see. We met each other during the Santa Crawl end of 2019. And honestly, I think we started planning for her to move in around March, like shortly after, because like shit was getting all shut down. Like shit was getting shut down at the end of March, and I was like, hey, look, I'm not driving to Sacramento every other weekend in the middle of a pandemic. Like, I'm just fucking not. And she was like, yeah, might as well change things up. And then she fucking moved in with me, and shit's been good. It's been really nice to have an emotional support. We're both are different types of crazy. And while I acknowledge that I am very codependent, she helps me mentally and in general, like we all have our problems. We all have our problems, and we can't just fucking fix them all overnight like I was trying to do with all my sanctimonious bullshit. Water break. I got a hydro flask for Christmas. I know I already had one, but now I got a bigger one because I thought I lost the other one I had. Turns out it was just in my messy-ass car. 2021, the year of cleaning up after myself. That's going to be my goal. For me, 2020 was just several loads of dishes. That's what 2020 was to me, was me trying to be better. But hey, what else did I want to say? I'm celebrating that I'm in a better spot than I was before in life, in the world in general. So I can't be mad at myself for not failing and not dying and having... sure, there's members of my family that have died and that are not doing well. That does suck for everyone. And also, Frodo, I swear to God, if you start barking in the middle of my goddamn podcast again. But yeah, like, with all reverence to the deceased and the disenfranchised, I'm sorry I'm not doing worse. I'm trying to do better for the world, But honestly, there's not much I can do. My hands are tied. I've been giving to charities. I've been trying to be nice. And from home base, that's about all I can do for right now. But all that is to say, Alicia is dank, and I'm glad that I'm with her. So, that's your cheese. That's your cheese for the podcast. Also, mostly just like I gotta mention her in the podcast because she mentioned wanting to be on the podcast, and I was like, I don't know, that could go south. Like, could it? It's not gonna go that far south. But I like hearing myself talk, so I don't want her trying to outshine me on my own podcast. In reality, I was gonna have her on, but she's at work, so that's what you get. 2020, let's review. I had a lot of plans. They all failed. So, 2021, I am rescoping what I consider important, I guess. Because 2020 is when I conceded that I think I'm a better support than I am anything else. And through all of 2020, I realized I hate supporting people, and I frequently end up in, kind of like a manic spiral. I'm not sure if I'm bipolar or not, but I have something in me where I can love someone one day, and the next day I will find everything to hate about them. And it's not that, like, if you see me, I probably hate you. It's not like that. I am always actively trying to like people and to find middle ground and to be pleasant, I guess. And it's very difficult. And so thinking that I can be this support for all these people is not good when, like, I go into my fucking paranoid hole and I'm like, everyone's just trying to steal from me, or like I just think that I'm not worth anything without other people. I don't like that. So I am rescoping everything for myself. Fuck the Petri dish. Not the podcast. I'm bringing the podcast back. I love doing this. I know I say I hate it all the time, but I do love being able to create something and having kind of a landmark of a thing to do every week. But I shouldn't have tried to turn the Petri dish into a brand, I guess. Like, I'm not a strong enough brand as me, Bobby Benedict, to then bolster a solo fucking production company that puts out albums and YouTube videos and does Twitch streams and all this shit. It's hard enough to be a person, so I'm trying to work again on how to do the person thing. This revelation coming after, drugs, not the bad kind. I don't know what the bad kind is anymore. Guys, drugs aren't that bad. That Bert Kreischer joke holds up. If you're gonna do drugs, just do half. But not really. I mean, I guess I also did this in 2019 where I got all sanctimonious after drugs. But 2020 was me realizing, like, I need to pull back the Petri dish as a brand and focus on myself, both as a person and as my brand, whatever it is, because I'm recognizable. People will remember me more than they'll remember the Petri dish. So I need to work on what I mean to the world if I'm trying to sell myself as an entertainer. And I think I can do that because all of my stupid ideas were still very me-based, So I'm gonna have to pull back the albums, I think. I'm not gonna be fucking recording people's albums and trying to put them out. I will still do that because technically I still run a record label according to the internet. But it's not going to be me trying to create quarterly stand-up releases. That's ridiculous. I know nothing about stand-up or production. So, my plan is to support people where I can and not try to slap a fucking label on it, And if I do slap a label on it, it's just going to be the same fucking thing. It's just going to be whatever. It's probably still gonna be Petri dish, but I'm not gonna sit there like, ooh, from the Petri dish comes, like, no, hey, I helped make this, so here's this person's thing, executive producer me, because I gave him fucking $200 or whatever. So That's the plan, I guess, is pull back. I'm gonna have to take off that YouTube. It was a fun idea to try. The Too Fat for That series might still continue, maybe not as it is. I'm gonna pull off all that Petri dish shit. I don't even think those videos hit 100 views together. So I'm gonna pull off all that shit. I'm gonna put it back on my own personal channel. Work on putting my shit on YouTube, not as the Petri dish. It's fucking dumb. Okay. Here's what I have to say about how dumb my plan was. I started Twitch streaming so that I could have content to put on YouTube. In the simplest terms, that's what it is. Like it's a solid strategy. It's what a lot of people do. It's hard to be a Twitch streamer without then also having a YouTube outlet for people to then go watch on their own time. But my dumbass created a Bobby Benedict Twitch, which then fed into a Petri Dish YouTube channel that also just had this one other show that was also me. That's fucking stupid. Put it under me. Like, just have all, like, this is what Bobby Benedict is up to. The end. There you go. One-stop shop. Why do I have a dumb website with my name if I'm not gonna work on the shit that matters to my name? Plus, I've got alliteration, like, the Petri Dish is a fun thing to say, but goddamn, there's so many B's in my name. It's fucking dope, guys. I hope you know how dope it is to have this many B's in your name. Dumb. But yeah, so I guess the Petri Dish as a brand, it's getting the axe. It was a fun idea for a year that was supposed to be filled with wonder and creation, but that year instead turned into me, like, hoarding guns and flour because shit's not cool, and it's not going to be cool for a while. That being said, it's tough because, like, I have mixed feelings about continuing to try to do my open mic. What with the dangers of COVID all around us all the time, do I really want to be going to a place every week to share my fucking spit with people every week all the time, especially when infection rates are getting higher? But at the same time, cognitively, I need a landmark. And I know this can also be a landmark, and I was neglecting it, but I need a landmark physically to go to do, to get out of this fucking house. I work here, I sleep here, I eat here, I shit here. I can't also be doing fucking Zoom comedy shows here. I'll blow my brains out in a bathtub. Like, it's fucking nuts. So, like, I know I need it. And I know there's at least a handful of other comics who need it. And I know need is a strong word. People are dying. It's not to be taken lightly, the spread of a deadly pandemic disease, but there shouldn't be a but humanity is complicated. We are definitely creatures that need, like, we need to be social. We need to be doing something. We can't just be. People say, like, you can have all your needs met and sit around in your house all day. It's great. There's Netflix and shit. I can't sit in front of the Netflix box anymore. I love watching things. I love playing video games. I got so fucking bored of playing video games that I started playing a game I don't even like, just to have a landmark of what I'm doing every day and to say I accomplished something. I was playing Destiny 2. I didn't give a fuck about the release of Destiny 2, but it was free with my Xbox Game Pass thing, and, like, I'm not going to pass up the opportunity to play, like, a AAA fucking well-manufactured game for free, basically. So, like, I blew through the campaign. It was kind of cool. Bungie is dope. I used to love Halo. Another Halo is going to be coming out eventually. I bought that Cyberpunk game. It kind of blows. I used to love that production company, but those poor programmers just got fucking reamed by having to work long hours and putting out a shitty product. So, like, video games are cool. I fucking can't anymore. I have to live life and have things to do other than maintain. Because that is all I was ever doing before, is maintaining. And I got COVID. It happened. All of December was me sheltering because we got COVID around Thanksgiving. And we just fucking sat in the living room sneezing and having terrible sinus pains for like 3 weeks. Like, I legit on Thanksgiving was just fucking dying. I thought about going to the hospital, but I was like, if I go to the hospital, I'll actually die. So, like, I'll take my chances here. I very much understand the idea of a hospice now. Because, like, boy, I would much rather die in my own home doing whatever the fuck it is I do every day and being me than sitting in a hospital away from everyone I know. And, you know, I bit the bullet. I had COVID, so I didn't have Christmas. You know, like, me and my family, we didn't hang out. It fucking sucked. And, you know, like, this is the year that I had to reflect a lot on what I think about my family. And honestly, like, through all the bumps and bruises, now that I've got all of them here around me, fuck, I'd rather have them than most of the other people. So, like, fuck it. Trying to stay safe and sane, but I need something. I need some things, you know? And so, we're trying. We're trying to, like, you know, I went up to Truckee just to walk around with Alicia just because we had to get out of the fucking house. And I forgot my dad works up there. So we stopped by and said hi for a second, you know, 6 feet apart wearing masks. But it was nice to see him because, you know, I always laughed at the idea of bubble children that have to, like, sit in a fucking room and just, like, wave at other people through glass. And now that I've had to do it multiple times, like, as my mom came and dropped off soup for us while we were sick, or as, like, my family came by with presents for Christmas and dropped them off on the porch and we just had to wave, like, what a sad existence. And I'm definitely not one of those, you know, like, don't live in fear, don't let COVID rule your lives, fuck the establishment. Like, I get that we have to wear masks, socially distance, disinfect everything, not put the burden on our first responders and our hospitals and everything. But, like, I'm probably not going to get hospitalized. I hope I don't hospitalize anyone else. And that's, I hope it's enough because I try not to infect other people. And that's what I'm going to try to do with my open mic. I'm going to try to, I was being lazy before. Through most of 2020, like, I wasn't disinfecting the microphone. I stopped wearing my mask as consistently with people. And, you know, I got lazy and then I got COVID. So I'm going to stop being fucking lazy. I gained 70 pounds this year. I gained 70 pounds in 2020 because that's how hard it hits. So, yeah, like, I just need to try again. My life is all about trying until I fail, and 2020 was a lot of not trying so that I wouldn't fail, and that's not a good formula, because then you don't learn. And I learned nothing in 2020, other than, like, I have to try. I have to be better. I have to do something, you know? So there's that. I'm done talking about it. Like, I'm talking in circles. At this point, I know I sound like an asshole. Like, I know people are dying, but I want to do stuff. I get the sentiment that sucks, but I am also of the mind that, like, there is more to life than being alive. I watched Soul from Pixar, and I do get the argument that, like, every day is precious and everything is precious, so don't fuck it up, you idiot. But, like, I don't think my purpose is jazz or whatever. Like, the same way I don't think my purpose is comedy, or I don't think my purpose is trying to make pop punk still a thing or making dumb fucking TikToks. But I do think that my life has purpose, you know? And so I want to go and live as if it does. Within confines of safety, sure, but I gotta go do stuff because 2020 started out really good for me. Let's talk about it. Let's recap. First thing that happened to me in 2020 is one of my songs from Sad Giants got featured on Jonah Radio. That was just this last year. That was, like, literally a year ago now today, pretty much. For those of you who don't know, Jonah Ray, great comedian. I believe he's the guy in the new Mystery Science Theater. And so, like, he has a podcast where he, like, listens to punk bands and talks to people and then plays newer bands or old bands, whatever, just stuff they're into. And I got played on the episode with Will Wheaton, which is fucking dope because I'm also a huge fucking Star Trek nerd. And what did 2020 have? A fuckload of dope Star Trek shit. So, like, I couldn't have been more happy about the way the year was starting. It was so good. So good. Like that rush that I got at work when I was like, ooh, I just got tagged on Instagram. I wonder in what? And it was like, Jonah Radio tagged you on Instagram. I was like, no fucking way. I didn't even know it was happening. And I go there and it's just a picture of them and Will Wheaton. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And they listened to that shit and it was dank. And I was so fucking jazzed. And that got me into thinking, you know, I've got some traction with this track. Let's release the one that I've been sitting on because people are going to need it. And boy, did they need it, apparently, because I released that single, Car Ballet. Check it out on Spotify if you haven't. But, you know, it's the biggest thing that we've had so far as Sad Giants. I think it's got almost 20,000 plays. Probably not that much. I'm over-exaggerating for myself. But, you know, looking at the metrics, I think I even posted them on Instagram. Like, I reached thousands of more people than I have. Like, I think they said, like, oh, an increase of 400 or 900% in listenership over the year. I was like, what? 900%. All of our tracks are now over 1,000. There's no little dumb fucking carrot anymore. That's super dope. I got listened to by thousands of people because of the algorithm of Spotify. And I know Spotify, evil, it sucks, but, like, I can't jump on that train because I'm not, like, a rock and roll dude for the soul of it. I'm just fucking here trying to get stuff out to people. So, like, I had this sad-ass song about isolation and mental health and wanting the nostalgia of feeling with people, and I happened to release it right before the pandemic hit. And, friend of the podcast, previous guest, and one of my oldest friends, what does she like to go by? Ollie Rose on TikTok, had her on the podcast, my friend Lauren. She made a little music video of the thing on TikTok and just put it out there to her fans because I wrote this song like 12 years ago on a thing we talked about as I was like driving us to class in the morning. And so, like, the fact that like I love that song still. It still hits. She loves that song and she was able to put it in a format that made other people that needed that song to have it. And that's so fucking dope that, like, the song that I was, like, sitting on, I guess. I was sitting on it because I knew it was bigger than... I knew it was bigger than the other 3 songs that we were putting out before it. Not that those songs are bad or unimportant, but they don't have the same weight, even alone, that Car Ballet did. So they were a different mood. I put out the summery sounding songs near the summer times, and then I sat on this one till the sad time. And boy, did it hit right. And I need to keep making things because I didn't realize how much I could resonate with people. And it got me, you know. The fact that many people listened to my stuff, liked it, put it in playlists, shared it around. I'm still getting little notifications of people like commenting on Sad Giant stuff, like, this is the band, and their friends are like, oh my god, they're so great. That's so fucking good. Do you know how good that feels, guys? That's up there with people singing your lyrics back to you. Not that that's happened to me like in droves, but like seeing someone else mouthing the words to my tracks is fucking dope. So the fact that I can bring enjoyment to people, especially in such disparate times, is it means a lot to me. And then after that, I was like, okay, got to go back and got to start making songs. And so I actually set out to learn a new software. I got a computer and I was trying to learn Cubase, which is a slightly beefier recording system than Ableton, which is what I was using for podcasting and music and stuff before. Cubase was kind of helping me make better demos so that I can then make better songs for my producer to understand like where I'm going with it. And to learn Cubase, I covered some of the freecreditreport.com commercial jingles from the late 2000s. And I actually, like, I sent it to my producer as just like, how do these sound? You know, like, I didn't want him to do anything with them because I wanted to see if I could figure it out myself, how to kind of mix and produce my own stuff. And he told me all the stuff that I should change. He's like, here's how you would make this sound better. I can't hear these instruments. These are out of time. Like, here's what I would fix. And he was like, I'm also not doing anything because it's quarantine. So if you want. And he fucking mixed and mastered them for me. So they sound too good. They sound almost Sad Giants quality. And I couldn't put it on Sad Giant stuff. I just couldn't. I felt like that would be a little bit sacrilegious. So I just put it out on Bandcamp. And apparently, because they're like 30 seconds long, I can't put them on Spotify. I thought about it. I tried. I even got permission from the composer of those songs from the agency that wrote them. He was like, "Hey, cool. Glad you're doing that. Tell me when it's done. I'll listen to it." He did. He said it was fun. So that was cool. So yeah, I released some dumb covers. And that was my 2020 in music, is like getting featured on a super awesome podcast. I got my first single to fucking go somewhere, and that felt so good that I immediately wrecked it by doing something funny dumb. You know, like, I try not to be too destructive dumb in my life. I try to only be funny dumb. And to me, covering freecreditreport.com jingles was the perfect amount of funny dumb. So if you haven't yet, go to bobbybenedict.bandcamp.com and buy the four song album. It'll be funny. All right. Let's see. I talked about getting fat again. Let's go back into that. Health update. Let's do it. I really just let it go. That's what happened. You know, like 2019, I was trying to be mindful. I was trying to, track my calories and exercise and be mindful of those things. And then all the gyms closed, and I was like, okay, I'll just try to like do push-ups and sit-ups and try to get, try to do a little at-home workout. And then I just stopped because that's hard. It's hard to do. It's hard to force yourself to do. And so I stopped. And then, boy, did you guys know you can get weed delivered to your door? You can. You can get it delivered now. And, yeah. And every fast food. Like, every single one, they're all deliverable. Every single thing, and local shit, So, like, I got in this kind of cognitive loop of like, I'm not eating unhealthy for me. I'm doing it to support local businesses. So like, I had Shawarmageddon. That place is fucking dope. I showed my sister and Alicia that, and they love it too. And I love shawarma. So Shawarmageddon, shout out to them. Fucking dope spot downtown. God, I love Shawarmageddon. Shawarma wraps as big as your fucking arm. As big as my arm, so way bigger than your fucking arms, you tiny twig piece of shit. I don't know why I keep getting aggressive with it. I think I have to. Just to kind of get the energy out. I've got a lot of energy. I'm back on the Adderall, and I'm trying to focus the energy a little bit, because I gotta go do comedy later tonight, and I don't want to do this to the audience. But my audience, you guys can handle it. You know me. You'll be fine. But yeah, I got super fat again because I was just fucking challenging myself to eat shit, basically. There was one time I ordered so much Taco Bell that I actually physically couldn't finish it. Like, it was like 7 cheesy gordita crunches and other stuff. And I had to be like, oh, that was too much. And I didn't share shit. I was being a dick. So I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying not to be a greedy dick as much. Except for doing the whole spreading a disease thing by hosting an open mic. We already talked about that. I'm trying to be less of a greedy dick food-wise, I guess. I don't know what's generosity anymore. So I'm going to just try to be cool. If you think I'm wrong, fucking call in at 775-391-0679. Tell me what you think. I'll take it. I'll take whatever you got, because honestly, you're probably right. My cognitive faculties have very much degraded over the last year. It's partly because eating like shit and smoking too much, but also like if you like meditating actually has shown to physically like strengthen parts of your brain that help with cognition and other things, and I was neglecting that a fuckload. So not only was I poisoning myself, I was neglecting myself. So here we are. I'm fat and dumb again. Let's see where we can go, ladies and gentlemen, and gender non-conforming friends. Oh, let's see. And I guess I stopped checking in with myself. I guess that was the big thing that I wanted to get from fattening myself up again. But hey, that just means that I can do too fat for that now. I came up with too fat for that after I had gotten down to like 320 pounds, where I was still like, I'm fat, but not like funny fat anymore. I'm just overweight, which is not as fun. So I'm back up to being funny fat. Let's do it. Let's fight. Oh yeah, I just wanted to list some shit because I broke a toilet seat. I broke a toilet seat with my fat ass. That's how you know you're fat, when you're breaking parts of a thing that you're supposed to sit on like multiple times a day. I also broke a couch. I broke my couch, again, it's my big fat ass. All my fat asses. I fucking busted that shit in so many ways. It's like, I didn't even know you could break a couch like this. I broke it so that like only the metal part at the bottom is holding all of the couch parts together. I basically broke it in such a way that the part that I sit in is a standalone chair. Which like if I was gonna insult someone, that would be it. I'd be like, yo, mama's so fat, she broke a couch in a way that now she is sitting solely in a standalone chair that happens to be near the rest of a couch. It's wordy and it doesn't work, but it's acceptable. I think I would do pretty good on Wildin' Out or Yo Mama, whatever MTV show is relevant. Probably not Yo Mama. No one gives a shit about Wilder Valderrama. Sorry, bro. Hope you're doing fine. I also broke my wallet. I had to apply for a debt consolidation loan because, get this, not just once. There were multiple months in 2020 where just Uber Eats, mind you, and I had both Postmates and DoorDash. Just Uber Eats, that bill was damn near $1,000. That's how I know I am both greedy and fucking just like fat, greedy, and middle class. Like I can blow that much money on delivery food. Granted, I would be buying only like $50 of groceries that month because I was ordering out every fucking day. And it wasn't all just for me. I was ordering stuff for Alicia too, and then later my sister. So I was ordering food for like 3 people, but still, like whose food budget is $1,000? Serial killers, that's who. And really not even serial killers if they're cannibals, because then they're eating people. They're getting free-range meat, and I'm just sitting here eating shawarmas and McDonald's like a fucking asshole. So 2020 was the year of being a greedy bitch. 2021 is going to be the year of eating sensible meals and not blowing shitty money on bad companies. Delete all those apps. Goddamn, those people are destroying everything. What's the other thing I want to... Oh, yeah. I talked earlier about how Alicia wanted to be on the podcast. And let's put it to the audience. You guys think Alicia is going to be funny enough to hang? I know you guys haven't met her at all yet. But, kind of only like to have funny people on the podcast. Audience members don't chuckle. Just because you don't like some of the guests doesn't mean they aren't funny to somebody. But, like, is it going to be weird? I honestly have no idea. Like, I know this podcast is like a dumb fucking diary in my universe. But do I actually bring my universe to the podcast? Or do I keep trying to, like, tailor it to be like, ooh, a show? Because I don't fucking know. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Again, I'm a terrible producer. The fact that I tried to do it at all is dumb. So, like, I might as well just let my girlfriend on the podcast, especially if she has to go into another room with the pets while I talk by myself for an hour. What is that shit? God, that is some honestly, the fact that I even asked it as a question and then justified it and then immediately destroyed myself for it, that's my process. I have to say something out loud sometimes before I realize I'm stupid. So yeah, one of these days you'll probably hear Alicia on the podcast because I have to, I gotta talk to people, and she's who I talk to the most. Because I can't just keep making this shit about me, even though it is always usually about me. But like the only reason this podcast is gonna be anywhere near a reasonable length is because I'm recapping a fucking year. So yeah, ain't that fun. God, what else happened in 2020 on my end? I'm not going to talk about, like, events that happened in the world because I am not qualified to talk about that shit. You know, civil unrest and fucking political intrigue and all that shit. It's not my forte. I am barely qualified to talk about stand-up comedy. So, like, I'm not about to talk about that other shit. I probably have opinions. I don't know what they are right now because I haven't really checked in. A lot of people died. If you guys are sad about ones, good. Hold that sadness in your hearts, and we'll all try to be better. Because, again, like I was saying before, like, I'm torn because I don't want to be a fucking super spreader event. Not that I plan to have my open mic be so fucking raucous and full of audience members that we spread COVID around, but like, if I'm just doing stand-up comedy to a room full of 6 comics who also showed up to do a comedy to a room of 6 comics, it's not worth it. If there's audience members there, though, we're putting people in danger. But I need to do something. So I don't know, guys. Maybe I do just gotta give up. Like I can't live with that guilt, you know? It wouldn't be worth it if anyone I knew died because I fucking sneezed in their mouth or whatever. So, yeah, there you go. What did I want to talk about in the world? Oh, yeah. This was the main thing. Is fuck Uncle Roger. I don't know if you guys know this, but you're probably not on TikTok. There's a comedian. He's like, I think he actually is Chinese. He does have a little bit of an accent, but he's just like a stand-up who created a character named Mr. Roger, and he got famous on TikTok for like talking shit about some lady's fried rice. But here's what gets me is like, if you have an accent, cool. If you don't have an accent and are doing an accent, probably kind of racist. You know, like there was a big talk about what do they call themselves? The South Asian community of Indian dudes doing the accent. You know, playing up the Apu stereotype, basically. But you know, it's because if they, you know, as an actor, if they felt like they wanted to do the accent because that character would have one, they would do it. Well, they weren't told to. And that was the thing, is they were empowering themselves with it rather than being told, like, ooh, play up an accent because you're a fucking taxi driver. No, like, they were a mostly fleshed out character. They weren't a main character because, of course, Asians can't do that until recently. But... oh god, my lungs are still wrecked. But yeah, there's that controversy of like, why are you doing an accent if it's not important to do one? And if you're being told to do an accent, would you be doing it? So I'm watching the rise of this fucking Uncle Roger character, and all I can think is like, this is just gonna be another way for dumb fucking white kids in school to fucking do their like racist ass shit to the other Asian kids, and it's just gonna further divide people because everyone thinks Asians talk funny. So if you do the talking funny, then everyone's gonna be on board. And that's the thing. Like I'm of the mind, it's exactly why I don't do any of that shit in my comedy, because I'm not gonna be one of those Asians buck-bucking around mocking my fucking people so that I can get the approval of white people. You know, like, Sure, maybe other Asians enjoy watching you be like, oh, that fried rice bad. Fuck you, you know? Like, I'm not out here trying to be that type of person or see that type of shit. If you want to be that type of dude, I hope you fail. You know, because you're not helping anyone other than yourself. And I know I already went into a whole thing about how I'm greedy and how I'm torn between killing people or having a little fun sometimes. But at the same time, to the detriment of an entire, like, ethnicity, do you keep putting on the fucking Andy Rooney teeth and breakfast at Tiffanying everything you do so that white people can clap like you're in a little circus? Like, no. Asians don't get respect already. If you just try to be that kind of stereotype, that's what we get. That's the height we get to reach. You are basically just a fucking Asian version of Larry the Cable Guy. It's not helping anybody, and it fucking sucks to watch. So, fuck Uncle Roger. I wish you the best in whatever you do. I hope you fail as a comedian and as a stand-up, unless we meet sometime in the future and I forget about all this. But honestly, I hope we never end up in the same circles. It's fucking maddening to watch people do that shit. And I say this as a comedian who was happily opened for Dat Fan. But, like, that's because, like, I need opportunities. Also, he didn't really do the accent that much. He was just mostly doing crowd work. There was a guitar on stage that he never even touched. And I can't fault comedians for taking the easy way into Asian comedy. You know? They're like, oh, these are my experiences. This is my life because this is what my mom sounds like. That's fine, Joe Coy. I'm glad that that's what you did. But honestly, Joe Coy gets props because he's also just mocking his son, too. He's just doing observational impressions of his life. So, like, it's fine. And he actually has good jokes and stuff. But I'm so tired of Asian accents being used as the selling point, you know, as the point of comedy. The same way that I'm sure, like, black people are tired of white people using African American vernacular English on the internet so that they can have, like, their shitty moment of pretend, like, doing black voice in other people's heads, you know? So that other people can be like, ooh, you talk white. Fuck off. I talk like me, man. I don't know what the fuck you want from me. I'm not going to sit around pretending to do an accent so you feel more comfortable about who I am in your fucking mind. So, like, I don't know, fuck accents. Like, just use your regular ass accent, which he already does have one, like I said. But, like, the fact that you play it up and have a fucking character, ugh. It's so YouTube, and that's what I hate about it. Not that I want to talk shit on YouTube, but I hate YouTube comedians for that exact reason. They are trying to distill the worst parts of humanity to appease the algorithm, and that's what fucking bothers me. So, I don't know. I hope you get fed to the fucking algorithm, you fucking sellout. Fuck Uncle Roger. Go look up his videos. I'm sure you'll enjoy them, because I think out of everyone I know, I only know like one or two other Asian people in the world, and I'm sure they don't mind, because no one gives a fuck about Asian people. So that's my horse to podium stand horse podium. So yeah, I don't know. Fuck Uncle Roger. Speaking of Asian shit, I got a steamer basket for Christmas, motherfuckers. I made char siu bao because I love those shits, and it is impossible to get dim sum or really that many good steam buns anywhere. There's some of the casinos have them, but like they don't do the char siu right, or they fill it with like just regular barbecued meat, or it's just like, here's roasted pork with some oyster sauce on it, and that's fine. Especially if it's a buffet. I get it. But, goddamn, there's nothing like having a nice char siu bao. So, yeah, that's what I've been working. I've been trying to perfect my char siu bao recipes. So, you guys want some char siu bao? Fucking come on over. Wear a mask. I don't fucking know. What else? I mean, Christmas was pretty dope. Me and Alicia had ourselves a special little time. Went on a journey. Listened to some Two Friends Big Booty mix. I don't know if I've actually done that before. Let's talk about media, because I usually do the what are you guys into for 2020 things that I found. Shout out to the King Quicks. They showed us Big Booty mix when I was officiating their wedding way back in March, and it is this EDM group, or I guess they're just two DJs called Two Friends. And, they do some fun remixes, but their main thing is they do like hour-long mixes. And those mixes are crazy. Like there's a certain type of media consumer that I know I am. And I know that I am a product of the internet. I am an aggregate of some of the best parts of the worst things. So I like popular things frequently. And they make DJ mixes the way my brain already does stuff. It's like, okay, here's the intro to Mr. Brightside, but it's like a fucking hip-hop song they layer over it. Like, there's so much dope stuff, and it just rolls for a whole hour. And we were just like dancing around in the living room on Christmas, just having ourselves a time, and it was the best. Because we couldn't have anything else. And I highly suggest you guys have yourself your own little rave in your living room, if you can, because it made me realize that, like, I need to enjoy myself more and learn how to just let go and quit hating everything all the time. So, yeah. That's what I've been up to, I guess. I watched Queen's Gambit, that show about chess on Netflix. I highly suggest it. Super good. It was unfortunate that they kind of tokenized the only black character that was in there. It's kind of like I don't want to say it in too many harsh words, because it wasn't the worst thing. It wasn't racist. It was just a little bit of, like, black savior stereotyping. So, like, everything else about it is wonderful. That one little hitch did not stop me from enjoying it at all. It's just some criticism that I saw from some friends, and I was like, it's, they're valid, but also it's a blind spot for me, so it didn't detract from my enjoyment of it, especially because it's such a powerful story already. So watch it yourself. Take with it what you will. What else is there? Dragon Ball Super has been on Hulu. I've been getting into the Dragon Ball stories again. Guys, if there's one thing I'm pretty sure every millennial male can agree on, it's that Dragon Ball Z was so fucking dope. It is such an important part of human growth to enjoy Dragon Ball Z. So Dragon Ball Super is like the approved continuation of the storyline, where GT was written without the manga. This one wasn't, and so this one is like canon. But it's also like way more batshit crazy. So check out Dragon Ball Super on Hulu. They didn't normalize the volumes at all, so the commercials are like 70% louder than the show. It's maddening. New season of Letterkenny came out. We've talked about it before. Letterkenny, hilarious Canadian show. Give it a watch. Fuck, do I love Letterkenny. It's gotten me out of some ruts. Like, that's how funny it is. It's just good stuff. What other media did I like consuming this year? A bunch of stand-up albums came out. Kyle Kinane's and Matt Bronger's were my favorites, I believe. Oh, actually, here's one for 2021 already. A band that I enjoy called The Dirty Nil, who I actually saw over at the Holland Project when I first moved to Reno. They just released an album literally on January 1st. And it's, punk-ish, like punk-adjacent rock. And it's a really good album they released. The Dirty Nil. Check them out. It's a great album to kick off the year. Doom Boy was the single from it, and Doom Boy is a real fun song. You know, I miss fun rock. I can't create it for the life of me, but they kind of have it down. They're almost hair metal in their approach, or like glam metal. You know, it's fun, but it's kind of Weezery actually. Some of the riffage and songwriting style, but the singing is very much not that. Great stuff. Listen to the Dirty Nil. Laura Jane Grace released a solo album. Laura Jane Grace of Against Me released a solo album, very folkish actually, not like actual folk, but like the spirit of American folk is kind of continuing in that way. And so Laura Jane Grace, Sleep something Sleep. I forgot the name of the album. It's a really good album. I highly suggest it. Then again, both of these albums that I've just suggested, they're like punk albums still, so they're only like 30 minutes long. So check them out. Other than that, I gotta start getting ready to go do some comedy with a mask on and hand sanitizer, and maybe I'll wear gloves. I don't fucking know. But thanks for listening, guys. I'll be back at you next week. I promise. I'll be here. I'll be around. I'll be doing stuff. I will be editing the yoga video for Too Fat for That one of these days. I'm not going to hold myself to anything because it's not a priority. But the footage exists. It was fun to make. And maybe that'll be the way I kick off like my personal channel again, is having the yoga one. So, I don't know. Let's have a fun 2021. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll talk to you later. Oh, fuck.